Geez, Bill, I sure haven't seen Skinny Man or Dead Meat in quite a while.
Oh yeah, but we haven't done a comic cave in a while.
That's true. I hear, though, that they're gearing up for a top secret mission.
Nice.
Of course, that top secret mission got rained out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no top secret mission today, folks.
Bad weather.
But Dead Meat and Skinny Man will return very soon. In the meantime, though, we got another comic kit review for you.
Yes.
Today, we are reviewing for the first time an animated comic book movie.
About time.
Yeah, there's a lot of these, and a lot of them are really fucking good.
I like the DC ones better myself.
Yeah, I actually think that for the most part, the DC ones are really good. Some personal favorites of mine are the Spawn ones.
Oh yeah, HBO.
Those were actually a series that they put into like movie format.
Yes.
So it does work as movies. But we are actually doing a DC film today. We're doing the 2018 film Gotham by Gaslight. Now this is an Elseworlds kind of story. It's, not the main Batman story. It's kind of a imaginative, what would have happened if
it's in a different time period.
Exactly.
Yes.
In this movie, Batman takes on Jack the Ripper in turn of the century. Now, I know we're all at the millennium, but still, when people say turn of the century, it would still mean 1800s to 1900s. Gotham City. And we have cameos from all of our favorite characters,
and some
with the exception of the Joker.
He originally was kind of.
He was in the book. He was in the book, but he wasn't in the movie. But we did get some really cool cameos by other characters. And we got, in my opinion, a really cool, intense story with a twist. They actually ended the movie differently than the book ends.
I never read this book, so I don't know.
Yeah, it is different from the way the comic book ends. Who Jack the Ripper is in the comic is not who he is in the movie. In fact, the character that is Jack the Ripper in the comic is not even in the movie. And honestly, I found that to be an effective tool because it gave people that had read the comic something new to go, oh, whoa, holy shit.
What a twist.
Of course, there was those of us that are like, no, that's not what happened.
Go on. Give it a rest. It can't be 100%. Come on. They tried to give you a little something different.
And you don't have to take it as canon. You know what I'm saying? This is an Elseworlds story. It can be whatever we want it to be, really.
True.
Honestly, I love this movie, guy.
It's a good movie. It is.
I have zero cons for this film. That's just me. I'm not sure about Bill here. But I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It's one of my favorite animated DC movies. It's one of my favorite comic book movies, period. I really did enjoy it. And it's one of only 5 Batman films to be given an R rating. Out of those 5 films, 4 of them are animated.
Go figure. Alright, since he doesn't have any cons for this film, I do have one con for this film. And that was the dream sequence that, it gave away who Jack the Ripper was, right? First time I ever saw this movie, he could tell you because we were watching it
When I first saw it, I still thought it could be anybody, but it clicked with him of who it was.
Yes. That
so we're not going to say who it was.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, there's a dream sequence, and for him it clicked to who Jack the Ripper was.
It was just too dead of a giveaway for me.
The first time I watched it, I didn't click on it, but maybe it's because I just thought I was seeing too many different angles, but, that's the way I am sometimes.
That was the only bad thing I had there. It's just, for me, I just figured it out way too easily. I thought that what they put in there just made it a dead giveaway. Sorry. Nitpicky, I know, but didn't like it.
Even though it might have been a dead giveaway for you, the depths of the person's, let's say, depravity, evil, wasn't fully realized until Batman got really into the investigation.
Yeah.
Because of I don't want to give it away, let's say the familial, the family ties.
Yeah.
That really kind of brought it out.
Okay.
And you know what, guys? Let's just start there. One of my pros is the twist of who Jack the Ripper is. It's somebody in the Batman universe you would never think it would be.
Yeah, and I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it at all.
It's somebody, it was very, very ingenious in my opinion, very cool. And I just had a blast with it. For those of you that have seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Whether you like it or don't like it, I still think it's brilliant to make this particular person the bad guy.
Okay, I can go with that. My first pro for this film is the story. I love this story of Jack the Ripper versus Batman, the greatest detective of all time,
versus the most notorious serial killer.
The most notorious probably ever. Mm-hmm. And as far as we know, records, he was never caught.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on you.
That's all right. But as far as we know, records, he's never been caught. So what better?
Yep.
What better two people to go up against each other?
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. And what's cool about it, too, is it's also not a Batman origin story. We're not going to go there.
No.
But it does hint in the movie that this is towards the beginning of the Batman's career. This isn't, he is an enemy to the police. A lot of people don't know about him yet. He's still kind of a mystery. And he even has some dialogue with Alfred, how, they just kind of started this thing going.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. So not only do we get Batman, but we get kind of a younger Batman. We get a Batman that hasn't been at this very long. And, of course, with Batman, we get all those awesome toys.
Oh, yeah. Even with this, and this will jump me into my next pro, is as a period piece, this is really good. And I'll just start there with the weapons. Very period times. And Batman's, they're not advanced like he is today.
Right, but they are more advanced than what they had at the time.
But it's believable.
Right.
It's believable.
Even his, I guess we could call it Bat Cycle that he has in this.
Yeah.
Is kind of based on that turn of the century
technology
for cars and automobiles that was just starting.
Yes.
At the time. I mean, you remember they had the cars that went boom, 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 and they had the big handbrakes thing, they were like open.
Yeah.
They had the big thin wheels on them that, you had to crank them and crank them and crank them, and
yes,
it was, it was kind of that technology, and it was cool because, yes, it didn't show him with the plethora of abilities he has now, but you saw the Batman dealing with what he had.
It's believable for the time period. That's why I think this is a great period piece.
And that's one of my favorite parts of it too, is that story. Not just the story of the period piece, but they wrote this perfectly. Batman gets with the right woman. There are certain characters that come in and out of their lives that have immense impact, and there is some really great writing in this movie.
Yes,
it was written very, very well. Did I mention who the director was? I think I might have forgotten. It was directed by Sam Liu, and I really got to give him props because I think he did a great job. And by the way, Bruce was actually played by, I believe, Bruce Greenwood. So, kind of cool that Bruce played a Bruce, But
yeah. But to finish off on my period piece, too, it's not just the weapons. It's the architecture, the other bits of technology besides weaponry, the social interactions, it was a different social age, and the way people acted with one another.
There's a lot of talking down to women.
Exactly.
And they're not trying to be offensive to today's audience.
They're just trying to
show the piece as it was.
Yes.
And that is something that's great about it. And honestly, I think if people did watch this and get offended because of the things that are in it, they should go fuck themselves because they're not talking to you.
No. Remember, think of it as a period piece.
And, I loved this movie so much. One of the things that I really loved about the movie, aside from the storyline, aside from, we talk about, when we talk in our regular movies that we do, this is only the, I think, second animated movie I've ever reviewed.
Really?
I believe so. I think I reviewed G.I. Joe the movie.
Okay.
And this one. I think that's it. That's the only two animated movies I've ever reviewed. When we talk about cinematography in films, we're talking about the way things are shot, the lighting of the scene, how it's done, how it looks,
Yes.
the scope of the scene. Within animation, it's no different. You still have to have all of those devices. You have to have good lighting. You have to have good cinematography. You have to have good camera work. The difference is you're basing your camera work on something that is still, something that you put in, or something you animate with a computer. What I love about this is, one, it all looks like it was done old-style animation. I'm sure they used computers somewhere in there.
Probably.
But it looks old-style drawn, and it looks amazing. And
Yes.
everything in this looks great. Like you were saying, the buildings, the architecture, the city looks amazing. The characters are incredibly well drawn.
Yeah.
Everything in this is very, very awesome.
And I'll go a little into that too, because this is a pro of mine as well. It's the different locations. If it needs to be nice and glamorous and bright, it's there. If it needs to be like the slaughterhouse or the alleyways, darker, more gritty, it's there. It's not all the same thing. It's transitioning where it needs to in the animation from nice and pretty to real world filth.
Right. And the next thing that I had for us was that, or did you want to go next?
Oh no, go ahead.
I love that there are some pretty cool, unique, we could call them comparisons, we could call them homages. I don't know if it was done intentionally, but there are some cool, unique homages or comparisons to probably the most famous of all animated Batman films, Mask of the Phantasm. We have, in this one, we have the World of Tomorrow,
Yes.
Gotham of Tomorrow, this nice pristine place. And in the Phantasm movies, we had World of Tomorrow. That in both of these films, it turns out that the World of Tomorrow is not realistic.
Yeah.
And they both end up getting destroyed.
They do.
And there's also comparison between Jack the Ripper as a killer and the Phantasm as the killer. Because in that movie, that was actually, for the time, it wasn't rated R. It was rated, I think, PG-13.
Yeah.
But for the time, it was a bit of an adult tale.
It was.
For
It
those
was
of us
more
that grew up-
story-driven than
For those
action.
of us that grew up watching Batman the Animated Series, it was an adult tale. Batman the Animated Series was a bit more adult, but this one, I mean, they showed blood. I mean, they
Yeah.
did some things that they had never really done in other movies.
They went more into the Joker's psyche.
Yeah, Joker, but and the Joker played a big part in that movie. But the Phantasm character and you have this dark serial killer that's in town that's not usually from there. Because in this, Jack does come from London to Gotham. In that one, the Phantasm comes from another place into Gotham. You know, there are some comparisons between these characters and between the scenes and between the setup. And to me, I thought that was cool. It's like they're kind of acknowledging what came before, and they're saying this is where the Batman animated movies started.
Well, there you go.
Now, I mean, there were a few before that, like Batman meets Scooby-Doo, shit like
Oh,
that.
yeah, all those
back in the old
ones,
days.
yeah.
But those were fun, and we like those.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the serious, hardcore Batman shit.
Yeah.
You know, this is where it went from that to this, and it's kind of in there. Go ahead, buddy. I'm going to keep rambling if I don't let you talk. Go ahead.
I know. All right. My next pro for this film is the placement of our characters from the DC Batman universe.
My next one was the cameos, so let's go on.
Well, I love it. And there's some of them that are kind of, if you'll miss it. Like Cyrus Gold, you might miss it. Grundy is in this movie. He just ain't a zombie. He's just a typical prisoner. But I love the placement of our characters in this timepiece.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Poison Ivy.
Leslie Tompkins.
Yes, Leslie
All
Tompkins.
three
Dick
of
Grayson.
the Robins.
Yeah, all three of them.
Of the
Dick
main
Grayson.
Robins. The guy that was their boss at the beginning of the film, he's one of the characters from the books. I just forgot his name. I just forgot which one it was.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, he's in the books. He's the bad guy in the books. Of course,
Selena
Alfred,
Kyle.
Selena Kyle's in it. Harvey Dent.
Harvey.
And Harvey, Dent's
He's an
character.
asshole.
His character was actually what the killer's character was based on in the book. But it wasn't Harvey, it was another character. They kind of took that character and put it into the Harvey Dent character so we could have Harvey Dent in the movie.
Yeah.
And it works. It really does work.
But still, the character placement is just really good. It's really dead on. It would have been cool to have a couple more characters, but hey, you know, we got a lot anyways.
Oh. What else did we get? I know we got a couple more. Of course, we get Alfred.
No, of course.
I thought there was more.
Eh.
But yeah, I love that as well. The cameos by the other Batman, you know, characters.
Yeah.
Of course, James Gordon's in it. Bullock. Sergeant Bullock's in it.
Sergeant
But
Bullock.
he's not a sergeant. He's a chief in this one.
Yeah, he's
the
above.
chief.
He's above.
And Gordon's
Gordon.
a commissioner. No, Gordon was commissioner and he was chief.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, there's some good stuff. The mayor is from the Batman books.
Oh, yeah.
My next pro, guys, is that I love that this movie is rated R. And it utilizes the R rating.
It does.
We
It
get
does
some
utilize
pretty
it.
violent scenes, and we get some pretty suggestive stuff, too. They don't go straight out and showing Catwoman's everything.
Yeah.
But there is some, you know, suggestive stuff there. But there is a lot of blood in this, and I love it. There's
It's
blood
hard
on the
not
blades.
to. It's
Yeah.
hard not
And
to.
it looks good.
It's Jack the Ripper. It's hard not to have blood in this.
And it looks good, and it's done well.
Or when Strange
I mean-
gets ripped apart by his own patients.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not going to say which person, because I want you guys to watch for yourself. I'll say this, one of the Gotham City Sirens, I'm not going to say which one, was brutally stabbed by Jack over and over and over and over again. And he shows them just going
Yeah.
to town on him.
Like I said, it's Jack
And
the Ripper.
it's blood everywhere. I mean, we've got body parts, we've got blood, bloody limbs, we've got organs in jars, we've got all kinds of cool
We
stuff.
got his same MO of taking organs.
Yeah. Guys, really the last thing aside from the R rating I want to talk about was I really love the way this ended. There's the twist, which we already kind of covered. I love that.
Yeah.
But we have this great ending on the film where
We're at the world of tomorrow, just like Mask of the Phantasm's
Exactly.
ending.
and things are realized. Bruce Wayne, who is still young at Batman, and honestly young at being a philanthropist kind of guy,
Yeah.
he's realizing his mistakes that he made with the shit that happened. We get this hint that there could be another film where the three Robins are all going to be taken under Bruce's wing.
Yep.
We get like this cool ending that just kind of makes like the little nerd boy inside of me go, yay!
It's funny to watch you get as giddy as a schoolgirl.
Hey, what can I say? The inner nerd comes out of me in situations like this.
All in all, this is a fun movie, though. It's a great watch. If you've never seen this film, check this one out. If you're not into animated films, but you do like the live action, still, check this one out.
And this is a horror movie, guys. It really is. This is a animated comic book horror film.
Which it should be.
Okay? Don't make any mistake here. This may be a comic book movie. This is also a horror film. It is a horror murder mystery, and it is really, really good. Guys, I think that's it.
Yep, that's it for me.
For the Comic Cave, for Bronco Juggalo and Bill, and for Dead Meat and Skinny Man, wherever those two fuckers are, peace.
Good night.